And now Matt is gone. As soon as I go live, it just kicked him out. What the hell is going on? Matt, come back. No. Everybody looking at me. Hey, welcome to Rabbit Hole Recap. It's your boy Marty Band. I'm here, supposed to be with Matt Odell. He just got kicked out of the room. I'm gonna try to let him back in. Matt, they don't want RHR to come out this week, man.
No, it let me know that you live streamed, and I just pressed the X button on the live stream notification and knocked me out of the fucking app.
Yeah, well, if you say no, it's gonna say, hey, probably.
I didn't press no though. I just pressed X on the pop up. It's poor.
Okay.
It's poor UX.
All right, now we have a problem. Your mic is nowhere near the level it was before you got kicked out of the room.
Okay, well, I'll figure it out. Keep talking.
Freaks, it's been a nice week here.
Now I'm loud again.
Yes, now you're loud again. We're doing it late. We're a little bit late, but you know what? There's some news that dropped in the last 24 hours that I'd like to talk about. River launching a mining service. We're going to talk about that. That's on the list. I spent the last 2 days in Charleston, South Carolina. It's a beautiful city. The family wedding down there. Getting reacquainted with the city that I lived in for 4 or 5 years when I was younger. And a city that's very near and dear to my heart. Charleston, South Carolina, freaks. If you haven't been, you gotta go. It's a beautiful fucking city.
Charleston's a great city. I also really like Savannah.
I've actually never been to Savannah.
I feel like they kind of compete.
Yeah. I'm a Charleston maximalist.
Well,
comes to southern coastal cities.
I'm not going to die on either hill, so.
Good. I don't want to die on any hills this week. Okay. We got a lot going on. In the world. The clown world. Did you see Tucker Carlson called a clown world top?
Only after you called the top first.
I know. Tucker, you're gonna get short squeezed, bro.
Yeah. do not call the top right now. That is fucking amateur hour.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we can start with some banter. And one thing we don't have on the list. All right, let's start with the dashboard, then we'll get to the banter in my mind. The price of Bitcoin, according to Clark Moody's dashboard, is currently $62,370. One cuck buck is going to get you 1,603 sats. Total market cap of Bitcoin, if you believe in that metric, I know there's some of you out there who don't, is $1.18 trillion, according to Clark's dashboard. We're currently at block height 707,327. Moving along, we had no difficulty adjustments between the last two shows. We are currently 208.9 blocks away from the next adjustment, which is slated to be on Halloween, October 31st. But not only is it Halloween, it's going to be the 13th anniversary of the Bitcoin white paper being thrust onto the world. And we're going to have a difficulty adjustment on Halloween, white paper day, and a difficulty retarget. It's great. And right now, blocks are coming in at 9 minutes and 14 seconds on average, which is 46 seconds quicker than the 10-minute block production target, And so we're estimated to have an upward adjustment of 8.3%. Going to get a little bit harder to mine, to find those hashes below the difficulty target for all the miners out there. What else? Unspent capacity at 4,415.35 BTC, or 275.5 million cuck bucks in Whirlpool. It's a beautiful thing, hovering around their all-time highs, I believe, in both sats and cuck bucks.
Fuck yeah. Go up. I love how it seemed like you were doing the math on block time, but you're literally just reading it from the table.
No, I was doing the math. It did take me a few seconds there.
Doesn't he just have it as a line item on the table?
Yeah, the average block time is 9 minutes, 14 seconds. I was doing the mental math of the difference between that and 10 minutes. It took me a while to get to 46 seconds. I'm hungover, freaks. Thank God I had
hungover, long day of travel.
Respect. I have a nice spicy ranch water.
I love the spicy.
I enjoy this. It's been a long day. But I did want to start on a topic that wasn't on the list. I just saw very interesting. Our boy Jack Dorsey. He tweeted out not too long after tweeting out an episode of TFTC, who knows if it had an influence on this particular tweet, but he tweeted out something like hyperinflation is coming or inevitable. I forget the exact words of the tweet. We could probably find it. It's probably lazy of me not to go.
I think it was like hyperinflation is coming and it will change everything.
Yes. People freaked out. People did not like him saying.
Well, blue checks really freaked out.
Yeah. It's like, well, then like the like it was like politicians, economists, like Krugman came out of the blue checks. Yeah. Came out of the woodwork to lambast him. And all of them are basically like their arguments were scary. They were like, you can't say it. You're going to incite it. Like, if it's just like they believe that there's just some unspoken agreement that
like if there's a tweet that causes hyperinflation, like I think we were fucked already.
Right. The pearl clutching that went on after that tweet was very interesting to observe. And it maybe again, I don't know why I want to bring it up. Maybe it gives us a peek into the future. If like, I mean, we obviously do have very high inflation. Whether or not we get hyperinflation, many would debate. I will not be surprised if it happens again because I think you can't micromanage these economies. You can't shut down economies inside supply chains and print a bunch of money and airdrop it on people and not have very high inflation to hyperinflation. Exact same thing that happened in Weimar Republic, blah, 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 blah.
Well, you already have that tweet that I think was like peak Marty bent Twitter, and you should have just resigned from Twitter after that when you said when the history books look back, like the hyperinflation had already started, right? Yeah. Wasn't that the tweet, something to that respect?
Yeah. We'll pinpoint a date before today as
And when was that tweet? That was like 8 months ago or something.
Yeah, might have been 2020. Yeah, but it's like it's weird. Again, like why I wanted to bring it up, maybe because it's a peek into the future. If things do get crazy and it becomes more noticeable to people, like do they start blaming Bitcoiners? Like, are they going to say Bitcoiners?
Yes.
Like hyper Bitcoinization, trying to move to sound money, or the ones who are causing this hyperinflation. Like it seemed like a bit of a setup for that at some point in the future.
They're already blaming a Bitcoiner, and we haven't even hit hyperinflation yet. It was just for a tweet,
right? Yeah, it was wild to watch from the sidelines. And good on Jack too. I mean, and
we were like just partying in Austin when he sent that tweet out, I think. Yeah, I remember seeing like the aftermath like 8 hours later or 9 hours later. Like I didn't watch it happen live.
Yeah.
Well, I was partying in Austin when the tweet went out.
It had to happen like Friday or Saturday, right? Because we were talking about it at F1. We went to F1. F1 was really cool, by the way.
F1 was dope.
Yeah.
Cheers to Unchained for making that happen.
Cheers to Unchained. Actually, I lied in the in the ad read I did where I said it was on Unchained. Parker just fronted it. I got to pay Parker for the time.
Yeah, I'm just paying Parker back. Oh, you already did the ads before we ripped?
No, it was in
a different episode. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of great Bitcoiners in town. Shout out to fellow Team Cash App member Max Verstappen for coming up first.
Did you just say team member?
Yeah, we're a team. We're all team.
Because he's sponsored by Cash App now?
Yeah. I think we have access to him now since we're both.
I mean, I didn't get any access. During the week.
Well, we didn't ask for it yet. What we're really saving for is Monaco. That's the one you want to go to. I mean, Austin was
true. That's his hometown. He lives there.
Yeah, so we're gonna hold out for that. Cash App. If anybody from the Cash App team's listening and you're throwing like a Monaco F1 party next year.
I'm fucking down. Let's fucking rip it.
I think all the Team Cash App influencers should be there. Meg the Stallion was on the track.
If they don't take us to Monaco, like I will not be going to Monaco for like another 5 or 6 years because need to wait for the Bitcoin price to go up significantly. Did you see that ad that they ran with Max Verstappen to announce it?
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was pretty solid. It was a Bitcoin first ad and then Cash App. You know, Cash App was like almost secondary.
And I like what they did too. Like he was just like, explain Bitcoin to me. And she, the robot Cortana, whoever, They're calling their AI educator in Verstappen's car. It's like a very succinct definition and explanation. And I think what they're trying to portray with that is like Bitcoin is actually not that hard to understand if you like sit down, like just have somebody define it simply for you.
Yeah, they had a previous one with Meg the Stallion that was like surprisingly educational. I appreciate that. You get like used to like the shitcoin ads. That's something I called, was that we're gonna have our first Super Bowl Bitcoin ad, and like no one's gonna be happy about it because it's gonna be an FTX Tom Brady ad. But like the FTX Tom Brady ads are just like them going, you in, trade crypto or whatever. So it's nice to see ads that have an educational element to them. But yeah, they announced that they're going to do a Super Bowl ad, presumably with Tom Brady. I just think we talked about this in September when they first announced the partnership with Brady. I just think it's hysterical because like, if you've been in the Bitcoin space for a while, like we've been fantasizing about a Bitcoin Super Bowl ad for like since the beginning, or at least since I've been in it. I haven't been in since the beginning. And now there's going to be one, and all the Bitcoiners are going to be watching it on Super Bowl Sunday, and they're just going to be furious. Like they're not going to be happy at all.
We need to do the crowdfunded, the pleb funded Bitcoin Super Bowl ad where we just play the pump it up music.
No, we do the Seventh Element, the one where he goes like, oh, that meme would be fucking fire.
That is one of my favorites. Your lady had that on the playlist this weekend.
Yeah, in the party bus. It's a family favorite. It's one for good for people of all ages.
Yeah, that is a little creepy though, but he can hit those notes, which is impressive to say the least. Yeah, man, fuck. It was a fun week. Oh, dude, since moving down here, nonstop, go. Again, the energy in Austin is palpable. It's my wife is inside right now. Like you're recording a podcast. You're being away from. I'm like, honey, pod doesn't sleep, baby. Sorry, Adam.
Pod doesn't sleep, baby. I loved your Citadel. It was great to see your home. I got to verify that the tree actually exists that Marty hugged last week, or 2 weeks ago.
When are you moving? How was the recruiting trip? We tried our best.
It was a good recruitment.
Successful? Right.
I'm gonna hold that one. I'm gonna hold that one close to the chest.
I'll take that. You know what? I'll take that to the bank with me. Excuse me. I'll take that.
No, but Austin's a pretty cool city. The Bitcoin community is fucking fire down there. Very strong Bitcoin community.
Very strong. Very strong. Strong to quite strong. Feels good to be down here. I feel re-energized being down here. I feel reinvigorated, ready to do this thing, man. Ready to do it. I hope you freaks are too. You should get down here and visit. At least get down to an Austin Bit Devs meetup. I heard I was not able to make it down to Houston for this month's meetup, but I will be there next month. But I heard this month's meetup was very well attended. And
they had over 300 people this time.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, Houston specifically, dude, like all the energy guys are getting into it. And they're like, all right, how do we get in? All the oil and gas guys are.
Yeah, I really need to make it down for one of those. I was exhausted. I just been doing, I did like 2.5 months of straight travel. So yeah, I was like, nah, I'm fucking not going to do that.
I want you to stay put for like a month and a half and just get 8 hours of sleep every night. Make sure you're well hydrated. Peace of mind. I was just gone for 2 days. I hate traveling, dude. I hate flights, the airport.
In this current environment, it's like extra frustrating.
Yeah, it's not fun. You know what else isn't fun? FATF releasing new updates. The demons of FATF are back, freaks. And they're trying to tell you what you can and cannot do with your Bitcoin, but they're focusing on these regulated exchanges and entities, VASP, as they call them, virtual asset service providers. So I guess it can be defined as an exchange.
I hate using their terminology, but it is more convenient since it is their document.
Yeah. Yes, I believe exchanges. I would guess miners, wallet providers, to some extent, all fall under the definition of these virtual asset service providers. And FATF, again, unelected, bureaucratic institution, started in France, like the UN countries and all the heavily regulated Western financial institutions of the world, financial capitals of the world, excuse me, basically take FATF's guidelines. So like FATF doesn't write laws technically.
It's technically non-binding.
Exactly. So they don't really, they have like a loophole, a scapegoat where like, hey, we're not writing the laws. We're just writing guidelines. Then just get accepted as written into laws.
It's like Always Sunny. It's the implication.
Yeah. Yeah. We're implying that they should make these laws, and then they just do. Why? Does anybody listen to the Financial Action Task Force? Who asked for them? Why? And so what are they doing now? So Coin Center came out with a piece, and the title of the Coin Center's blog is "The long-awaited FATF crypto guidance is not as bad as it could have been, but it's still flawed. Here's the good, bad, and ugly." And so they go into it. I guess we'll read their bullet points here.
No, don't read the bullet points. The bullet points are what their suggestions were during the last guideline phase.
We'll just get
They're recapping.
We'll just get to the bad and the ugly.
The biggest issue is that it's written extremely vague. In their good section, they're like, it's less vague than it was previously written. So I guess you could take that as you will, but it's extremely vague, so it can be enforced. Well, I guess it depends on how the different countries decide to implement it. But like if we actually have laws based on it, which we probably will, because that's usually what happens, it's written extremely vague so they can choose, who to hit at any given time rather than having clear-cut rules. I mean, I don't think there should be burdensome regulation for this thing to begin with, but if there's going to be, it should be clear cut so people know what they're getting into rather than a case by case basis deciding who you want to fuck over and who you don't want to fuck over. And then the really bad thing is like, there's like a carve out for, forget what the term they use. They called it like matching or pathfinding or something like that, which was also very vague. And like, so like the big fear is like, if I think we all have basically come to the conclusion that regulated entities, traditionally regulated entities, whether it's a custodial wallet, whether it's an exchange, a brokerage, they're all going to have very extreme KYC. They're going to have all these restrictions. They're going to have to comply with the travel rule or whatever they want to call it, where they're exchanging information about who's sending to who and whatnot, and keeping track of all that information, storing it in secure databases. But the fear is for, in their terminology, the unhosted wallets, but like self-custody wallets, regular Bitcoin wallets, where, you might not be using your own node, so you're using a service provider's node, but you're not, but you're holding your own keys. And in that case, it still seems very vague to me. So like the big ones that you could think of is like a multi-sig provider or a light wallet on a mobile phone, or a coin join service, or a LSP, like a Lightning service provider. It still seems to me very vague in that regard. And that's where a lot of my fear is, because I think people should hold their own keys. They should use their own node. They should avoid KYC as much as possible. But even if they do all that, providers of those tools could still be held liable based on this guidance. And I am not a lawyer, and they make it as complicated as possible. So it's very difficult to read.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating because Coin Center does a lot of good work, but a lot of their focus is like DeFi and bullshit. So like, it's not, I linked in the show notes Coin Center's write up, because the actual guidance is even more dense and even more difficult to fucking parse through. But like Coin Center's main focus in that piece is how does this affect DeFi providers?
Yeah. Ah, the point we're trying to get to here is that we just need to abolish FATF. Like, they should not exist. Like,
I'm down.
And again, I mean, I've said it before. I've said it again. I will say it again. I think we need to start seeing some corporate civil disobedience. I think we need these companies, these service providers, the cash apps. And again, I'm not saying that they're not doing anything at the moment. Obviously, a lot of these companies are doing a lot, but I think there needs to be like a coordinated and planned effort to disobey these things. Again, you just mentioned it, and I don't want to say you glossed over it, but I think you should stress, like, again, all the data that they're forcing these entities to collect, like you said, is going to be in insecure databases. Like, you're just creating larger honeypots, putting more people at risk. And again, I think one thing the people I was getting shit on this week, because I forget I was talking about FATF or something else, but it was like, oh, you're pumping KYC companies and all that. It's like, true, I am. I'll own that. I don't like it. I think we've been very vocal. I don't like that KYC is a thing. I think we've been very vocal about that. But again, it's like you can't hate the player. These people are trying to build companies and get people Bitcoin into their hands, which is very important and virtuous at the end of the day. You have to put up with that shit to do it, which is unfortunate. But I think it can go a step further, where we now need to start pushing back. I don't know if people are getting like Bitcoin packs, and there's rumors are going around that people are starting these packs that advocate specifically for Bitcoin. I think this should be one of the main goals of these packs, is like, why are we listening to FATF? Why are we doing KYC AML? It is proven, literally statistically proven, to be completely ineffective. What was the stat that we were talking about like a year ago? 0.1% of financial.
Yeah, it doesn't stop criminals. It just hurts law-abiding Americans. And I mean, I think we need to take a lesson from gun owners in America and the NRA, right? There should just be, like, it's one thing to comply with burdensome regulation, but on the policy side, like, there should be a fine line. There should be a line that we do not cross, and there should not be, lists of Bitcoiners and their transactions, period. And that's what you see from the NRA. And I would like to see basically like Bitcoin versions of the NRA start to blossom. And there are some in the works. So that is good.
Good. I want that. So just to gloss over the ugly part of this real quick, like Matt said, so here are some like the vague terms that are being thrown out. Continues to advocate for an expansive approach and repeatedly uses vague weasel words like actively facilitates and may qualify. Would be inappropriate for anything like these non-specific and confusing standards to replace the current law and regulations we have on the books here in the US. So yeah, like Coin Center is basically admitting in this blog, like, yeah, they're just going to replace the laws with these guidelines, with these new laws that FATF is. Why the fuck does FATF exist? Why do we listen to these people? Freaks, wake up. We need to shake everybody out of this clown world. Like, why don't we just go to our government and say, they go, why are we listening to FATF? Why? Like, why are they allowed to produce these guidelines from France that we have to follow? I thought this was America.
Well, I mean, even if we didn't have FATF, like, the U.S. government would pass these laws. But yeah, I agree with the sentiment.
Yeah. That's another, dude, did you see, I'm sure you may have seen the bent I wrote this week, but about the comptroller of the currency that is up, that Biden is nominated, is waiting to be approved.
No, I missed that.
So her name's Saleh Hazmarov, I believe. She won, like, if the Wolf, or excuse me, the Wall Street on Parade blog is what highlighted this. I hope it's true. They say in the blog post that she like studied at the University of Moscow and won like a Marxist Lenin award. She won like Lenin Scholar of the Year for being a good Marxist. And she wrote like I think like a 70-page paper describing how she wants to basically have a nationalized takeover of the Fed, like have the Fed just take over all commercial banks and just essentially do a CBDC, but described in another way. She talked negative interest rates. She wants to allow the New York Fed and other Federal Reserve banks to short stocks that they don't like they deem that stocks are irrationally exuberant. They want the Fed to be able to go in and begin shorting stocks, which is just a complete nationalization of the financial system at that point. Like, it's already pretty socialistic with QE, and the purchase of mortgage-backed securities and other types of assets. You're essentially picking winners in that regard, and you're not directly but indirectly picking losers. Like, the ability to giving the Fed the ability to short stocks would like pinpoint and have them picking very granular individual losers.
Oh, I saw screenshots of that. What did you say the source was?
I mean, her paper's public. You can go read the paper.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw screenshots of the paper.
Yeah. And Wall Street on Parade was a blog that covered it earlier this week.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a bullshit blog, but
no, it's pretty good. It's pretty reliable.
Is it like that's a real blog?
Yeah. It's like somewhat like Zero Hedge. They dive into it.
Well, I saw the screenshots of the actual paper. It is like the whole just the shorting of equities is if you just take everything else out of that and just nail down on the shorting of equities, it's a very scary incentive, right, for the Fed to have, where they can make money crashing the stock market. Because right now they do already have a perverse incentive to basically pump the stock market, which is what they're doing, which is not great, but at least they're like pumping your bags if you own stocks, but if they can just pop the bubble, and then, especially a government that is, insanely in debt and has a debt issue, if they could pop the bubble and recoup their debt, that seems like a very perverse incentive to me. They should not be allowed to fucking short equities.
This woman wants, she's up for nominee to control the currency, comptroller of the currency. And this is what she wants to do with your money, freaks. This is what she wants to do with your financial system, with your markets. A complete, legitimately communistic Marxist takeover. Like, at the end of the day, the government, via proxy, using the Fed, has controlled the production of the financial markets. Like, it's fucking insanity. Clown world, freaks. Why does FATF exist? And how the hell are we letting people like this get close to the currency in the United States? Like,
yeah, I mean, we also had, our last one was Brian Brooks, the ex-top lawyer for Coinbase.
Yeah. And then he went to Binance and left real quickly.
Binance US. Yeah, he left super quick.
So that's actually, people are forgetting about that. Don't forget about that, freaks. So just keep that in the back of your mind. There's probably
he freaked out, right? Like, he saw behind the curtain. He was like, oh shit, I cannot be here.
Yeah, so he definitely saw some shit and left rather quickly. So
I think they made him CEO of Binance US.
Yeah. So don't hold your coins on Binance. Don't hold your coins on any exchange, whether, like, who knows if Binance is in trouble because of regulatory issues, because of solvency issues, because of incompetency issues. Who knows if these FATF guidelines are going to get adopted tomorrow or next year. Be proactive. Get your sats off the exchanges into wallets you control.
Yeah, get your self-custody or Shiba Inu token. Not your keys, not your Shiba.
That was a funny thing from the family wedding. I was mentally preparing, having the last few months have been like when I'm running the family and friends, and they're like Bitcoin/crypto curious. It's been like Solana. Shiba won the wedding.
Well, fucking Coinbase added it too.
Did they? Of course they did.
Yeah, they added it like a week ago, and then it pumped even harder.
Yeah, and didn't one get rug pulled? Isn't there like a Shiba Inu?
No, I think it was a different dog token, right?
I don't know, $100 million or something like that. Just isn't pennies. It's a pretty big hack. Just got completely rug pulled.
The dog tokens, man. I didn't see it coming.
You had to see it coming. What's old is new again. Doge, Shiba. It's hilarious, just like the psychology of people who aren't like fully engrossed in the space, it's just like, when the shit coin of the day, it was Solana 2 months ago, and now it's Shiba Inu. And my family members were like, yeah, I was thinking about buying some sheep, like some, what the fuck is it called? Shiba?
Yeah, it's like the breed of Doge dogs are Shiba Inus, and that's what they named the token, and it's an ERC20 token. And there's also an element like the creators airdropped like 50% of the supply to Vitalik.
Yeah.
And Vitalik gave like a portion to like an Indian charity and like a COVID relief. Maybe it was like an Indian COVID relief charity. And then he burned the rest. So like he created all this publicity while destroying the liquid supply, right? So it just made like perfect pumpamentals combined with the meme coin, and then Coinbase added it as well.
Yeah. Coinbase. Figure out your security.
Remember the depths of the bear market where some Bitcoiners actually believed that like we would stop seeing shitcoin pumps happen?
I was one of those Bitcoiners at one point.
It was just going to happen forever. Let's just get over it.
Yeah. I'm pretty much resigned to that.
Just get into your Bitcoin Zen. Just focus on fucking stacking and just try and ignore it as much as possible.
Yes. Try. It's going to be hard when your family members are just coming up to you like, "How, you're not in Shiba Inu, idiot?"
Fucking boomer.
Sorry, cousin Jamie.
Oh yeah, tungsten cubes are shit coins as well.
I don't know why they're blowing up. I don't know why.
You see that Niraj picture for Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, I'm just staring at it.
That's a nice kitchen, Niraj.
We're taking over the mainstream.
If you have a kitchen that nice, you're short Bitcoin, Niraj.
Is that really his kitchen? Was that his kitchen?
I think that was his real kitchen, right?
Niraj, it's too modern, man. I don't like the modern. It's too...
Marty's kitchen's outside.
Yeah.
His whole house is like that.
It's too sanitized. These modern designs.
Yeah, Ronan Miner's commenting that he doesn't see any squirrels. I saw like a shit ton of squirrels while I was in your backyard. Yeah. They like just stay just out of frame.
Yeah, they're usually running up on this fence. They got big nuts down here, these squirrels. They do. They're not neutering the squirrels, I can tell you that. Very high T squirrels in Texas. Maybe everything's just high T down here. It's in the air. High T energy is in the air down here. What do we have next? We should probably get to the list to keep talking about the stuff we came here to talk about.
El Salvador now holds 1,120 Bitcoin.
They just purchased 420 Bitcoin. Do you think that was Bukele going for some meme love there?
It feels like it, right? Like, I don't think you can like accidentally purchase 420 Bitcoin.
Yeah. President's making 420 pot jokes with Bitcoin buys. What a timeline. So they're climbing up the stack. This is actually a conversation I had with my dad. My dad was like, who do you think's next? Actually this morning before I left Charleston, we got breakfast. He was like, all right, like who's after El Salvador? I just saw that they bought more Bitcoin. Like, who's next? I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised. It's like Guatemala or like another Latin American company. But another thing I realized, like, people don't ever mention like Belarus and Ukraine. Like, don't they already have Bitcoin? They just like are pretty low key about it.
Well, like Ukraine has like disclosure rules, so like we know a bunch of their politicians' holdings, and they have like like the politicians are like fucking. They have a ton of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
there was like a mayor of like a small town with like 15,000 Bitcoin or something. Remember?
Yeah. If I remember correctly, there's something like 60,000 Bitcoin dispersed between Ukrainian politicians.
Well, like the smart ones aren't really talking about it, especially if you're a small country without fucking a strong military. Like, you should just chill.
Yeah.
Like North Korea probably has a bunch. I think Russia's probably actively stacking.
Yeah.
We know Venezuela is stealing from their people and stacking.
Yeah. Yeah, we know Venezuela for sure. El Salvador, obviously, for sure. I think the Ukraine government, like outside the politicians, I don't know why I think that.
Well, wasn't there like, I think Belarus was the one where
confiscated, but they're not selling it. So,
right. But it was also like, and then they denied it afterwards.
yeah.
Like, so you didn't know. It was like some blog posted it and it was like a translation of Ukrainian. And then the Ukrainian government said they didn't have it and that was bullshit. But like, that's what I would say if I was them too.
Right.
But anyway, Bukele is the only head of state that is tweeting out, I just stacked the dip,
Yeah.
which makes it unique, right? Like there's plenty of people that have good OPSEC and they're buying Bitcoin or mining or earning Bitcoin, but he's the only head of state that's like actively tweeting just stacked.
Yeah.
Which is a paradigm shift.
Very
even
big.
if it's not necessarily, like G6 country level type of accumulation.
G6. We're losing them by the day. It's G8, G7. We're down to G6.
Maybe I was talking about the plane.
Matt's got private jets on the mind. This is not a good sign, freaks. Dump it.
Wait, Marty, I had dinner with Marty at the local top and he popped champagne at legit the top. He ordered the champagne and he popped it at the top.
Wednesday night. Yeah. Hey, we'll get back.
I was staying humble. I drank the champagne, but I didn't order it or pop it.
Yes. Well, that was your move in 2017. Yeah. Every time I saw you, I knew like popping champagne. The big news, really exciting news. It came out of nowhere too. I wasn't even aware of this, and I feel like I talked to Alex a good bit. River added mining to their stack of services that they're offering their customers, so you can purchase miners and have them managed and plugged in via River, which is pretty cool. It's a unique value add for their customers, and it's a different direction than most exchanges and brokerages have gone down to date. So it's really interesting to see them mix mining into their stack specifically. I like the move a lot.
Well, it's hosted mining, obviously. So like you buy the miners through them, they'll host it for you. Similar to like what Compass Mining offers or Blockware offers. It is a perfect example of the fact that River's sole focus on Bitcoin and being a Bitcoin financial services company allows them to innovate way faster than all these other exchanges and brokerages. I mean, they were one of the first ones to add Lightning support. They allow you to self-custody and view it all through their platform in a very easy white glove kind of way. They add support for new Bitcoin features as they come out. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be one of the first that have Taproot. So yeah, it's cool to see. I wonder if they weren't very clear. I think they launched a wait list. I wonder if it's like a white label partnership with like a Compass or a Blockware.
Yeah, we'll see. Alex is actually going to be in town on Monday. We're going to sit down and record. I guess we're going to talk about this. I didn't know we were going to talk about this when we scheduled it last week, but I guess now we're going to be talking about this. So here's what they say on their website, how River Mining works. You purchase your miners, place a down payment to reserve miners ahead of their launch date. Your miners go live at a hosting facility on their launch date. They handle the hosting, servicing, and maintaining of the miners. And then you earn Bitcoin. Once live, your miners will start earning Bitcoin by providing support to the Bitcoin network and gets deposited straight into your River account.
I mean, so Trinity made a good question. He said, why would anyone use hosted mining when they have to do full KYC? I tend to agree. I think one of the beauties of mining is that you can stack in a relatively sovereign fashion, and probably the most private way of securing Bitcoin. And even I tend to think that even if you're paying a higher electricity rate, because one of the beauties of hosted mining is that you get to pay a way lower electricity rate, way lower power rate, with something like Compass, where you don't do full KYC, but it's like a light KYC kind of situation happening. I still think you're better off just figuring out a place where you can get the power, plugging it in and paying the higher power rate and not having to trust a third party holding your hardware. But it's kind of an interesting question, like who's going to choose the full KYC River hosted versus the light KYC Compass, because that's more of like an apples and oranges comparison versus actually holding your own miners. And I would argue that probably they think that there's a market there of, like buttoned up boomers who want, financial exposure to mining and would alternatively be buying like a public mining stock. And instead, they'd prefer to at least on paper own their own hash in a hosted mining facility and see the returns come directly in Bitcoin rather than in fiat.
That's preferable.
Yeah. So there's different levels, options are good.
Yeah. Options.
Everything has trade-offs.
Everything does have trade-offs. And again, there's another thing here too. That's actually something like behind the scenes I've been telling exchanges too. I have a theory. I don't know if it'll play out, but I think it could. Like if Bitcoin is wildly successful, like at some point, like the 2030s, 2040s, I think exchanges are going to have direct exposure to mining operations just to get liquidity. If exchanges still exist in 10, 15 years, and like think about that. Like once we do have a Bitcoin standard, like do we even need exchanges in their current form, and how do they adapt and front run inevitable mass adoption? Again, one of my theories is that they're going to need to get mining operations either diversify and prepare for that Bitcoin standard future, or even if they do survive and exchanges are still around in their current form and providing services, they're being used by a lot of people like a decade from now, they're going to need mining operations to get access to liquidity. You have any thoughts on that?
I mean, they can always just work with miners and rather than doing it themselves, right? And get like, I assume like all these exchanges have different, like that's one of the tasks that they have to do as an exchange to not like run out of Bitcoin. And we actually saw like in the most recent bull, like didn't like Swan, like Swan was using Prime Trust and like they just ran out of liquidity at certain points.
Yeah.
And like there was like all the engagement accounts were tweeting out, there's a Bitcoin shortage. It's like, no, Prime Trust one of Prime Trust's main responsibilities is making sure they have liquidity, and they failed that. But you're getting it from like OTC, you're getting it from miners who want to have like longer term contracts probably to hedge their risk. And you're getting it from traders. And like a lot of times, I mean, it used to be the case. I don't know how much it's the case now, but you can source liquidity from other exchanges even, right? Where you have like partnerships where you're basically buying or selling on their platform and connecting it back to your users. Will mining be an aspect of that? Yeah, of course. It always has been. I still don't, I'm not sold that this idea of hosted mining is a long-term thing or if it's just a fad. And I'm not trying to dismiss it when I say fad, but like cloud mining, we remember the cloud mining days.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I mean, there's been
and this seems like an evolution of cloud mining. No one does cloud mining anymore.
Well, because cloud mining
was like a straight scam.
Yeah, I think hosted mining is building on they're iterating on cloud mining and really fixing some of the problems that existed with cloud mining, which had to do with ASIC procurement. And so just being able to offer services and actually follow through. I think that's built in more thoughtfully into these hosted services.
They're definitely like more legitimate, right? Than just like some website popping up. What?
Disclaimer, we're sponsored by Compass, a hosting service. So just get out of the way.
But but we're being critical of them. So I feel like the disclosure is less necessary. But it just goes to what you always say, right? Like my sound keeps cutting out. It goes to what you always say, where like these large like regulated warehouses of miners are like massive targets. right? But if you're distributed and you're holding your own hash and you have your own hardware, it's like not your keys, not your coins, just with fucking hardware, with ASICs.
Yeah.
Like I feel like anyone who's keeping their ASICs in a large warehouse is playing a dangerous game. And if you don't own that warehouse, then your danger is even higher.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky though, right? It's trade-offs with everything. Like if you want to scale, if you want cheap electricity, some larger facilities are necessary in those cases. Yeah, again, it's interesting. Everything comes with trade-offs.
Meanwhile, we have Neil, we have Ronan Miner in the chat. I saw you posted on Twitter something that he's been dreaming of for a while, which is renting out failed Subway sandwich locations to host miners in them because they're already wired for high power because they have all the ovens and everything in them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all going out of business because of COVID. So he got his first Subway location, Subway sandwich location, and he's going to put miners in there.
I like this, Neil. Blood in the water. Subway blood in the water. Go get all their fucking buildings. Plug in the miners. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like someone in the comments said, you know, like right now, like the compasses and the blockwares have like a light KYC approach. My instinct after being in this space for so long is that there's going to be a time they're going to be forced to do full KYC. And I just really, really hope it's not like a shotgun KYC situation, because shotgun KYC is the worst, which is, you know, what we saw Binance do, which is what we saw Poloniex do, which saw Bittrex do, which is this idea of holding your funds hostage and forcing you to KYC. In this case, it is good that like Compass and Blockware, and I presume River, they allow you to connect to your own pool, whatever pool you choose. So they don't control the Bitcoin that is a reward, but they control your hardware. They could technically hold the hardware hostage, be like, you're not going to get this $15,000 machine back unless you fill out these forms and tell us, you know, where your third sister went to college or something.
Right. Well, hopefully if that does, if they are forced to be put in that situation, they can pull a BitMEX and give their users fair warning. We do have examples of people doing it. No, we would probably deem as more ethical than the others who have done it in the past. I think BitMEX is a shining example of that. They had to force KYC on their users as they're embroiled in a large case with the New York Attorney General's office.
Anyway, freaks, consider sourcing some ASICs and running them yourself. It's not as difficult as you may think. Just make sure you hire a licensed electrician so you don't fucking kill yourself in the process.
Yes, very important to get a licensed electrician that knows what they're doing. You can try to do it by yourself, but you don't want to fuck that up. With that said, we'll tie this knot with this. Like I was on a mining calculator yesterday. It's crazy. S9s are still profitable at 18 cents a kilowatt hour. That's like without brains even running on them. Like the M30s.
Oh, without brains? That's not even including brains. So freaks, if you don't know, like if you install the brains firmware, they're also a sponsor. Slush is a custom firmware. It automatically makes your Bitmain miners 30% more effective.
Yeah.
So that's without brains, it's still at 18 cents. You're profitable.
With you around 20 cents. Like,
and those are like 7-year-old machines.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like top of the line M30s, S19s. I think you're profitable at like 50 cents.
Exactly. Like you don't need like 5 cents out of Russia. Like what like Compass's like newest thing is like, not only is it a warehouse you don't control, operated by a company that's not you, but it's in fucking Russia, like a country that you don't know at any moment can just like seize all your fucking hardware, and you get 5 cents. But like you got to think in your head, like, is that trade-off necessary when you can mine at, you know, I mean, I doubt any freaks are mining at 50 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah. And to be fair to Compass, I think we should mention they do have at-home mining services. They will help you if you.
I think that's a cool service. I like the idea of like the white glove customer support idea with mining at home. Like I think a lot of people just want like a be able to pick up the phone and talk to someone,
Yeah. And if you do host your miners, you're using Compass, you do host them at a hosted facility, you can take your miners in kind at any point you want.
If you're a freak who was hosting with Blockware or Compass Mining and took them up on that offer and had them send you your rigs to your home or to your PO box or your Dropbox location or whatever successfully, please reach out and let me know.
I've heard a couple stories.
Yeah.
I think it's happened. But yeah, if you've done it as well, please.
Or respond to the tweet that we have the episode.
Yeah. God, we're getting down tangents here. I told my wife, hard hour. It's not happening, honey.
Hard hour. How long have we been going?
I mean, we've been talking for an hour, but we've been recording.
Really? We only have 3. We've only done 3 of them so far.
We're going to go to shout outs. Missed them last week, and I feel like an asshole. I missed an important one that was pretty time sensitive and didn't read at the live show.
That's on Marty, not on me. I don't get to see the shout outs until he reads them.
That's on me.
Throw him under the bus.
You just did. Okay. You just did. Right, here we go. We are October 17th, 19th, excuse me. Marty and Matt, thanks for everything you do for Bitcoin. That's the shout out. Our good friend at 03jan09, 03jan09 on Twitter.
Why was that time sensitive?
Nah, that's not the one I'm talking about.
I met him. He's awesome. I'm not going to dox where I met him, but he's awesome.
I met him.
And you had already met him too. Cheers, freak. Appreciate the shout out.
You're about to repeat
and
that.
Appreciate meeting you. You're awesome.
Yes. The feeling is co-signed by Marty. Reminder that Citadel Dispatch is sponsor free and freak supported. Stream some sats on Sphinx from our good friend at 03jan09. About 2
Cheers,
shots.
freak. He doubled up.
Thank you.
That was also not time sensitive one, right?
No, this is the time sensitive one.
I guess I'll know when I hear it.
Marty and Matt, the shout out was funded by the newly created Indianapolis Bitcoin Meetup. We're having our first monthly get together next Wednesday, October 27th at Beer Brewery on 65th Street from 7 to 9 p.m. Shout out to Brandon Quidden from Bitcoiners in Minneapolis Meetup.
Damn, Marty, you fucked that one up.
Getting this off the ground. If you're thinking of starting a meetup in your hometown, then hit him up on Twitter. Again, that's next Wednesday, October 27th from 7 to 9 at Beer Brewery, the one on 65th Street in Indy. That's what you guys do, and for spreading the good word from Indianapolis Bitcoiners. That meetup happened 2 days ago.
I hope it was a massive success, freaks. And I'm glad to hear that we got a new meetup on the radar.
Popping up everywhere. We got 2 in Oklahoma. We already mentioned them a couple of weeks ago. We got this one in Indy. A freak that I met in Nashville when I went and did the live episode of What Bitcoin Did with Peter and Preston. He drove down from Michigan for that. And I think I successfully convinced him to start a Michigan meetup, which he did. He sent a tweet thread out this week. If you're in Michigan, I believe it's like northwest part of the state. I could be wrong. Go look at my Twitter. I retweeted out earlier this week. I will say I did have one of the indie Bitcoiners like reach out to me. It was like, hey, I just like listened to live RHR. I realized you didn't read the shout outs. Like it's a time sensitive one. And they had a thread and I shared that as well.
Oh, that's good. You made it up for them with some Twitter exposure. Support your local meetup, freaks. I know like everything has trade-offs, right? There is some offset considerations to keep in mind. Don't like bring your coin with you. Don't, get drunk and tell them exactly how you hold your coin. Don't start being braggy. Don't like brag about things. Maybe don't tell them which NIM you are on Twitter.
Always assume a spook or two.
What was that?
Always assume there's a spook or two amongst you.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some spooks. They're very engaged in their local communities. But there's a lot of benefits. Like hanging out with Bitcoiners in person is the best thing ever. It's just so good. It's just amazing. And I know it can be intimidating and scary the first time you go. We've all done the first time. So we've all been there. And it's something you should really consider. It is awesome. And I met some lifelong friends and family. I would consider so many Bitcoiners family now. And it all started with the first meetup. So consider it. And cheers to Indy. I hope to come visit you guys sometime soon.
Cheers to Indy is right. Cheers to everybody starting Bitcoin meetups out there. They're important, and they're getting a lot of traction. The Houston one, again, 300 people there. It's the third or fourth meetup. Or I'm sorry, Al, and it's disrespectful. You guys have been doing it longer than that.
They have a dope venue too.
Yeah, it's like the sweet.
They got the sexy car garage.
Yeah, I did a tour of it. The first one I went to. There's some sweet cars in that place. Next, back to the list. Right before we get the software updates, we got to talk about Blockstream sponsoring Mini Mint. This is
fuck yes, this is awesome.
Yeah. So we've discussed it on the show and in the newsletter, probably in July, when Eric Sirian, who Blockstream just decided to fund his work on Xiaomi and Mint. His particular implementation is called Mini Mint. I believe he's working on an implementation or a developer suite called Fedmint or Fedimint or something like that. And essentially say, it would be a federated eCash, Xiaomi and eCash implementation that could significantly increase privacy of Bitcoiners using the Lightning Network. But it does come with some trade-offs. And so let's dive into this. We've discussed them in the past. But I'm really excited for this stuff because I think the trade-offs are worthwhile. And I think you can construct these federations in ways where you can have a considerable amount of trust that your sats are safe and being respected. What are your thoughts off the back?
Yeah, I mean, so the idea here is most freaks, whether we like it or not, have used custodial Lightning wallets. I know Marty likes using the custodial Blue Wallet Lightning wallet. That's a very common one, or a wallet of Satoshi. These are custodial Lightning wallets. They're very easy to use with small amounts of money for like spending. Now, when you use a custodial Lightning wallet, you have trust concerns and privacy concerns. The trust concern is, let's say you're using Wallet of Satoshi. Wallet of Satoshi could steal all your money. Wallet of Satoshi can get hit by regulators, and they could say you have to do full KYC. We had the Dropbit wallet that was seized by the U.S. government because the founder was also running a custodial mixer. They took all the custodial Lightning funds out of it. So if you had custodial Lightning on Dropbit, you lost all your money. So you have funds risk because you have custodial risk. The second thing is you have privacy risk. You're trusting the custodial wallet provider with all of your private transaction details. If Wallet Satoshi wants to spy on you, they can see every transaction you make on Lightning. What's cool about this is using this tech, you can basically have a custodial Lightning wallet where you get privacy from the custodian. The custodian cannot see your transactions, has no idea what you're doing because it's using an implementation of Xiaomi and eCash. So they have no idea what your transactions are. And then that leaves, you still have funds risk, but by making it federated, this idea, which is, Liquid's a federated model, but in this situation, you can imagine it like the custodians are basically in a multi-sig. So you could have, 15 different entities be a part of a federated custodial Lightning wallet. 10 of them need to collude together or work together to steal your money. And regardless if they all collude, they still can't take your privacy. So you have way less trust in the custodial providers because you need a bunch of different parties to collude, and you actually get privacy from them. And at the same time, you have the cost savings of Lightning. You have the ease of onboarding of custodial wallets, and you can send and receive from any other Lightning wallet, whether or not they're using this tech. So you have access to the greater Lightning network at the same time. So it can be very, very accessible privacy with even better trust trade-offs, way better trust trade-offs than current custodial Lightning wallets. So it could be a massive improvement. It's very accessible. It seems well within reach, especially with someone like Blockstream stepping in and funding the initiative. So I think it's really promising. And not only do you have privacy within the, from the custodians, in a lot of ways, it'll be more private than if you're using a self-sovereign Lightning setup, because you can imagine, let's say you have one of these 10 and 15 federated custodial Charmian Lightning wallets. Let's say 500,000 people are using it or 50,000 people are using it. Externally, when you're looking at that, any transaction that goes in or out of that custodial wallet could be one of those 500,000 people. Like, you don't know who that is and you can't discern what that is externally. So it becomes like this kind of black box Lightning wallet. Now, the biggest threat could be regulators could come and try and shut it down, right? And that's where you kind of want to see that these federations are made up of entities that some are anons, maybe they're in different jurisdictions, to make them more resistant to kind of government intervention, because that's basically the big threat I see there, rather than worrying about if 10 of them are going to collude together to steal your money. The bigger threat in my mind is, will they get government pressure because they're offering like basically a hosted privacy service? And in that case, you really want them to be multi-jurisdictional. You want them to be ideally some anons involved there that, they don't even know who's operating it. Yeah. They're really fucking cool. And Eric really deserves it. He's an awesome dude. And it's sorely needed. So props all around on that one.
Eric will be presenting down in El Salvador at Adopting Bitcoin in a couple of weeks here. So be on the lookout for that. I think he shared a little picture demo on October 3rd. I was in the car between New Orleans and Austin, or Nashville, New Orleans. So I missed that when he launched it. But yeah, it seems like it has like a working implementation. It was an idea in July. It seems like things are actually functional now, which is incredible to see. And like Matt said, like I can envision a world where you have many federations pop up and you have like just a slew of Uncle Jims. You have like Uncle Jim networks, like federation networks that pop up. And begin facilitating this. That's one thing I said in the event when I read it. Like, this is actual DeFi. This is how you disrupt banking. Now you can build like a free banking system on top of these Chami and eCash systems too. Like, so that's when it's going to get interesting, when you can have like Bitcoin companies, whales, enthusiasts, plebs, just begin spinning up these Chami and vaults and offering competitive services on top of Bitcoin compared to banks. Anybody can disrupt them. Again, it's free.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I was talking to Gladstein, and he made a point that I wasn't really even thinking about, because as far as I'm concerned, sats are the standard. You should, if you're not measuring your life in sats, you're short Bitcoin. But in the short term, there's a lot of people, especially in the developing world, that really want dollar exposure. They don't want to hold all their money in sats. They want to have some savings in dollars so that they know, I hate the term stablecoin, but know that they have a relatively stable value. And especially in these types of federated custodial pools, it could be even easier to implement some kind of contract for difference system where you can basically get virtual dollar exposure, because some people in the pool will want to go long Bitcoin and some will want to go short Bitcoin. And you can basically get like a synthetic dollar there without actually needing like a so-called stable token or stable coin. So it could get really interesting. And I think that's like well within reach.
Yeah, it's crazy. So shout out to Eric, shout out to Blockstream. You got to give props where props are due. Blockstream's fucking crushing 2021. They've made a lot of strides in a lot of areas of their business, and I'm very happy to see them supporting Eric and Minimint. I'm very excited to see what he presents in El Salvador in a few weeks here. where this thing goes again. I think comes like Taproot DLCs, these mints. Like we're hitting like an inflection point of like runaway innovation that I don't think that like you said, like the government's going to try and shut it down. You can't. Like imagine they go. Here's how it could play out. You have a federation spin up and it's public entities. The government shuts it down. A month later, you just have a bunch of Anon Uncle Jim start one, and people start using it, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. You just have more and more compound after that, and yeah, like are the fucking Western governments going to tell African citizens that they can't have these
Citizens of Africa?
Citizens of Africa that they can't have of African countries, American citizens. Yeah, yeah, that was fucking. Sorry, it's been a long week. But no, are they gonna go tell people who desperately need these services and these privacy enabling tools in Africa that they can't use it because we have KYC AML regulations up here and we have to listen to the demons at the Financial Action Task Force. So we're done. We're abolishing FATF. I'm getting texts from my wife. Like you said, it would only be an hour.
All right, let's run through the software updates and wrap this baby. Your wife deserves it.
She does. BTC Pay version 1.3.0 has been released. I believe they added support for Foundation devices.
That's the least of it. They added LN URL support and Lightning address support.
Lightning address, yes.
Probably the easiest way to do self-sovereign Lightning addresses now. So, boom.
Shout out to Andre.
And they added Taproot support for when it activates.
Woo. What else? Lightning Network top-up invoices. That's interesting. Pull payments. This is Marty reading release notes now. This is never good. Sparrow version 1.5.2 has been released. Nix Bitcoin version 0.0.55 has been released. Spectre Do-It-Yourself version 1.6.1 has been released. Joinbox version 0.6.3 has been released. Simple Bitcoin Wallet, Matt's favorite Bitcoin wallet, version 2.2.17 has been released. Umbrel version 0.4.6 has been released. Umbrel also raised $3 million in a seed round. That was interesting.
Congratulations to the team on that.
Yeah, and it's I mean, they're making the case, a very strong case, that they're pretty much they're responsible for the crazy growth that the Lightning Network seen in the last 6 months, 8 months, particularly, which is really cool. Immortan version 0.3.6 has been released. Bisq version 1.7.5 has been released. Blue Wallet version 6.2.12 has been released. That's it for the software updates, but one last bullet point here on the list is the fact that Voltage released Flow, which is an easy way to interface with Lightning Pool. So if you are using Voltage to spin up a node in the cloud, which they really can't, all the data is encrypted. So if you want to spin up a Lightning node and have it managed for you by the Voltage team, they're now providing you this product Flow, which will allow you to get inbound liquidity pretty much immediately, which is cool to see in integration with the Lightning Pool, which is trying to solve the channel liquidity problem.
Lightning Pool makes it easy to buy inbound liquidity from other users in a marketplace, but the UX leaves a lot to be desired. Flow makes the UX very easy. As far as trade-offs of using a cloud Lightning node, we have a awesome rip with ARB dropping tomorrow where we kind of discuss that at length. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's a spooky episode.
It's a spooky. Marty said spooky maybe like 45 times in that conversation.
Well, we knew we were going to drop it on Hallows Eve. We do a holiday special. This year's holiday special is a Halloween special. Sorry, freaks, but Matt did not take a nap during this rip.
It'll never happen again. That was a special, a lot of special things happened during 2020, and that was one of them.
Yeah. 2021. Fuck, man. It's almost November. It sure flew by. He's texting.
I have some last words for the freaks before we wrap up. Because I fucked it up last time. What?
I'm interested to hear your words.
Bitcoin 2022, April 6th through 9th, the largest Bitcoin only conference that's ever existed. Wait for it, Marty. This is not an ad read. The prices increase on Tuesday. I told them the prices increase after the fact last time because every month the prices increase. They increase on Tuesday. There's a discount code open source because we're going to have the largest open source only agenda on a 2,000 person dedicated conference hall. And if you use that code, it's 21% off. It's the highest code possible. I do not get a kickback from that code. It all goes to you if you use it. So
you freaks, the freaks that I knew you're going to get a Bitcoin 2022 shill in. Don't worry.
Wait, it's important that I will not shill it again for another month until the next price increase. It is the price will increase. You will regret it.
I do not mind. I do not mind.
Consider yourself warned.
I like the Bitcoin 2022 shills. It's always important to remind people that there's going to be a dope ass event in Miami in April.
And we'll have a live rabbit hole recap there, as we always do.
We're going to be outside. Kevin O'Leary is going to join us.
We're going to be in air conditioning.
Oh, we're going inside. Yeah. Kevin O'Leary has accepted a challenge I gave him to arm wrestle. We're going to arm wrestle on stage during.
Has he really accepted the challenge?
Yeah. Manifesting here. Manifesting.
Kevin O'Leary, if you're listening, Marty's challenging you.
Arm wrestling. And then we get to debate ESG, whether or not. Oh, squirrel on the tree. Squirrel on the tree. Squirrel on the tree.
I don't see him.
You missed him. He just climbed up.
Neil, did you see the squirrel?
You can rewind the tapes.
Neil is the arbiter of truth in terms of squirrels on trees. He's the one keeping you honest.
There was a squirrel on the tree. All right. I've got to go have dinner with my family.
Give my love to your wife and your child. I love you, freaks. Stay humble, stack sats.
You do the same, and I'm going to give her some love too, baby. Peace of love, freaks. Live stream alpha. Yeah, Marty fucks.